When you scour the depths of custom keyboard YouTube, finding a good budget keyboard can be extremely difficult. With optical switches now out and conquering our lives with how fast they are, it can be even harder to find the perfect optical keyboard to suit your needs. But with the Punkston TH61, I think we may have just done that. I spent a whopping $29.99 and then had an additional $5 off to get this thing for $25 on Amazon. Now it goes anywhere from about that $25 up to about $60 depending on the seller. And if you can get this thing for any of those prices, it's a steal, especially at the price I paid. It was extremely, insanely cheap for what you're getting here. Now, optical switches are extremely fast, and they're fast because how they operate is they use a mechanical component to actuate your switch, I guess you could say, by breaking a beam of light that is on your PCB. Now, whereas normal mechanical switches are fully actuating through a mechanical key press with the switch and activating that mechanical part on your PCB, the optical switches are simply using the stem to break a beam of light. And thus, you can technically get the fastest result or the fastest signal sent without actually having any physical contact. This obviously is why gamers love optical switches, or at least why a lot of new gamers and people who are just getting into mechanical keyboards are choosing to go the way of optical switches. Because of that fast actuation, companies like Razer have been able to develop optical switches that actuate a whole 30 milliseconds faster than normal mechanical switches, which is insane if you think about it. Straight out of the box, you're gonna get a keycap puller and you're gonna get a switch puller, and you're gonna get a nice braided cable. It is very nice to see a USB-C braided cable come with this thing. It's a complete steal. Again, this whole thing fluctuates in value, but right now, currently, it is sitting at around $34.99 with that $5 off. You can switch everything on this thing, so it's kind of a nice, simple DIY kit for someone looking for a 60% optical keyboard. And I'm pretty pleased with everything that came out of the box with this thing. It's got full RGB, and it's got a pretty nifty program to set macros and set all the settings for your RGB effects. I'm impressed. Color me impressed. But the Punkston TH61 doesn't stop there. No, this thing is hot swappable. That means you can change out the switches for really any Gatoron optical switches you want to. There aren't too many optical switches that are on the market, unfortunately, and that's one of the reasons people still prefer mechanical switches, or fully mechanical I should say, over optical, is the options are just not there yet for optical. But you can get your yellows, you can get your reds, you can even get your browns. It should also be noted that it appears that these stabilizers are also factory lubed, and they actually aren't that bad. Now, they could be better. You could go and actually fix them yourself with some nice Durox or something like that, as these are plate mounted stabilizers, but out of the box they actually aren't that bad. They're not too rattly, they're not too springy sounding, they sound pretty decent. The case itself has a bit of padding, so it actually sounds very good when you type on this thing. For a keyboard that is straight out of the box without any modifications or lube of your own, this thing sounds really good. You can definitely hit those thock levels. I have the reds. Now, it's kind of funny because they actually are brown in color when you take off the keycaps and look at the actual switch itself, and they look like Kale switches, like Kale box switches, but they aren't. They're their own thing. I believe I saw that they are H&Js, whatever that is. I have not heard of those kinds of switches yet, so I don't know if that's just a generic switch manufacturer that I haven't heard of. But these reds, as they are, that are like a brownish red, are linear, and they are based on actual red switches. That's why they're being called red here, and they are just smooth as butter. I haven't lubed these things, and they are smooth. I didn't lube them because I wanted you to know how they were stock, and I am very impressed at how they are. I mean, just listen to this. This is stock. This is a stock $25 keyboard. Listen to this. To sum it up, this thing is amazing value. The keycaps on this thing are PBT. You have macros. You have a 60% size keyboard, which is perfect for gaming because you can tilt it, you can get into position, and you can give yourself that desk space you need for your valuable mouse. And it's just that fantastic. I absolutely love this thing. This is perfect value for money, and it gives you a good gateway into tinkering with your keyboard, modding your keyboard out further, switching it up for different optical switches. And as more Gatoron optical switches come out and more optical switches in general start hitting the market, you're going to have a nice basis to try them out. And it's just so easy since it's hot swappable. And who doesn't love some nice RGB? Well, at least gamers. You know, gamers love the RGB. The Punkston TH61 is a keyboard I highly recommend, whether you're an enthusiast or you just want to check out what optical switches are all about. This thing costs less than a bag of switches costs themselves. So why not? Just give it a try. I think you might actually enjoy it.